Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kim Santos if you're new, and if you're not new, hey, welcome back. Today's video is another one of my palette comparisons. The palettes I'm going to be comparing today is the old Rose Gold palette from Huda Beauty with the brand new remastered Rose Gold palette. In this video, I'm going to do swatches, I'm going to compare the packaging, see the differences, and do a mini eyeshadow tutorial using both palettes on each eye to see how the pigmentation is, how they work on my eye, and just really figure out which palette is better and if the new one is actually worth going to get if you already had the old one. Anyways guys, before I get into this video, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button and also hit me up on Instagram. It's Kim_0530. I will put that on the screen. But anyways, I'm just gonna continue on the video and let's do a palette comparison. Let's talk about pricing first. So the original Rose Gold palette went for $85 in Canadian and $65 in American. The new Rose Gold Remastered Palette also is exactly for the same price, 85 Canadian and 65 American dollars. You know, it's definitely one of the more pricier palettes I have. My Anastasia Beverly Hills ones range from 56 Canadian, so that is quite a difference. You do get, I think, more cost per gram, like there's more shadow in these palettes, but it kind of just all depends. Now let's talk about packaging. The new palette definitely wins for packaging just because it's sturdier. First of all, it has a full-on mirror, like it takes up the whole side of this palette. And then also it has like a sturdy cardboard cover. You know, I feel like this is more travel friendly. It's more compact. If you drop it, if let's say something hits it, you know, you lay something on it, it's not gonna easily break versus the old one, which has this plastic see-through cover, which some people like I like it because at least I know that's my palette. Like I know this one's the Rose Gold, so I don't mix it up with the Desert Dust palette. And it's kind of pretty to see all the shadows. It's just this one's a little bit more flimsy. Something could break the plastic. It just, yeah, and you can see the dirtiness of it because I'm a messy person, okay? So, you know what I mean? So I definitely say the remastered definitely has the better packaging just for like consumer wise and safety and protection, okay? Let's talk about the actual shadows and the layout inside. If you look at both palettes, they look identical. The only difference right now you can see is this one is a little bit beaten up and bruised because it's dirty, and this one's just brand new clean. They're not completely the same. Obviously the formula has changed between both of the palettes and some of the shade names. In the original palette, this really bright pink color on the third row, the third one in, Flamingo, is not called Flamingo in the new palette. It is now called Dollface. So that's pretty interesting to note. Some of the other shades, their names have changed just because I feel like she wanted to remaster it, like make it look a little bit different, not completely the same. I'm looking at fraternal twins right now. You know which twin it is, but they still look the same. They're not identical, they're fraternal twins. Another big difference is obviously the formulas. So far, what I've played with the mattes in the new palette, they're definitely more creamy. They're so much softer than the original ones. I felt like with the original ones, you did get some pigmentation with the mattes, but it wasn't as creamy. I don't know. That's just what I've observed. And also the shimmers. In the original palette, they're texturedized shimmers. So you kind of have to go with your finger and get a good amount of product. And then it was kind of difficult to apply these shadows. They have a weird texture to them. It wasn't easy to apply to the eye with a brush. You kind of had to use your fingers. And if you have long nails like me, it can be a little bit of a challenge. We can get over it, but it's, you know, it's a little difficult. I prefer to use a brush, but hey. That's why a lot of people didn't really like this palette when it first released because of these shimmer shades. They just weren't easy to work with because of their formula. It's a really unique formula, so there's that. The shimmers in the new palette are really beautiful and they're just definitely creamy and smooth and soft. You get that pigmentation right then and there. Obviously, we have to see how it performs on the eye, but so far, I'm really liking the formula of these shadows just by looking at them, touching them, and swatching them. The Rose Gold Remastered Palette definitely follows the same shadow formulas of the little mini palettes that Huda released earlier this year. I feel like even the Desert Dust palette, the formula is not as nice as the new Rose Gold Remastered. So anyways, I'm going to do swatches next, show you the colors on my two different arms, and see how different or how exactly the same these palettes are and just how they apply. Obviously, arm swatches don't do a palette justice, but it's nice to see the color scheme on the hand. Okay guys, and here we have the comparisons. On the top is the new Rose Gold Remastered, and on the bottom is the original one. You can kind of see the shimmers on the bottom are a little bit more patchy, and the mattes on the top are a little bit more smooth compared to the mattes on the bottom. They're just a little bit more patchy. The overall color scheme looks exactly the same. There's not that much of a difference between the two. So it kind of just depends if you're buying the better formula or not. So I'm gonna start off with the original Rose Gold palette from Huda. I kind of want to do very similar looks, but at the same time something a little bit different. I don't know, we're just gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna go in with sandalwood first. Just coat my brush like a nice even layer. And I'm gonna start to put that in the crease. Gonna be my transition shade. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit to the brow bone. Now on the same brush, I'm just gonna be taking henna. Now I'm just gonna be taking henna on the same brush, and I'm just gonna put that on the outer corner of my eye and like slightly bring it in with the sandalwood shade, doing little patting motions. Now I'm going to be taking the shade Cocoa on a smaller brush, and I'm just going to be defining the crease a little bit more, just to deepen it up a little bit more. And keep it a little bit more smoky on the end. I'm gonna go back in with some henna and try to blend out Cocoa a little bit more, just because it is kind of attaching itself to certain parts of the eye. Takes just a little bit more work, guys, you know what I mean? Just gotta blend and blend and blend. So your hand, it's numb. So I think what I wanna do is put the shade Blessed, this very like coppery, shimmer shade on the lids, see how that goes. I'm taking a MAC 242 brush and I just coated it with the shade Blessed, and I'm gonna put that all over the lid. I'm just gonna do a cut crease, but I always do one in these videos, so we're gonna switch it up today. You can see there's like a little bit of fallout. I also didn't wet it with Fix Plus. I really wanna see how the shadow performs on its own. Nothing enhancing it. The mattes didn't have any fallout, it's just the shimmer right now. I'm really having to build a shimmer just because it's not the easiest thing to apply. I'm gonna go back into that henna shade and kind of go a little bit over top of the shimmer we placed. And then I'm gonna take Moon Dust from the palette and put a little bit under my brow bone. Definitely gives like a nice shimmer. And then also in the inner corner. So that is the original Rose Gold palette from Huda Beauty. Now we're gonna move over to the next side and we're gonna do the new remastered Rose Gold palette from Huda as well. I'm gonna start off with the shade Sandalwood again as my transition shade. I'm gonna clean off my brush using my Veramona color switch, this thing right here, and I'm just gonna swirl the brush around, get off all the product. Just even dipping into Sandalwood in the new palette, the shadows look so much softer, but I honestly don't mind. Softer shadows I feel like are a little bit more pigmented in most cases. Okay, we are going in with Sandalwood once again. Just putting that all over the crease slash lid area. The shadow is very pigmented and very smooth. Now I'm taking the shade Demure from the palette. I'm gonna put it over that Sandalwood shade, make it a little bit more pinky, mauve-y. The two are blending really nicely together. So guys, how's your May been? Has it been a good May? May is always such a busy time of the year for me, and I know for a lot of people too. It's crazy, it's hectic. Summer's about to come, you gotta get your spring cleaning done. So I'm pretty happy with those two shades. I think I want to deepen the crease once again. I think I'm going to use the shade Risque. Let's see how this darker shade applies. I'm just going to put that all in this area. I quickly go back in with Demore. It looks very similar to the shade Shy in the palette. So for the lid, I'm going to use this pink diamond shade. It's been calling my name. I feel like it's gonna look really good. It's like a lavender pinky shimmer shade. I don't know. I can definitely tell already the shimmer shades in the new palette are easier to pick up with a brush. They're just creamier. We'll see how they apply, but definitely a little bit easier to use than the previous shimmers in the original Rose Gold palette. So we're just gonna pat that shade all over the lid. You can definitely see that shimmer right away. I've only gone into the shimmer once, so this is spreading out really nicely. And once again, I'm not using Fix Plus or enhancing the shimmer shades. This is just the palette as it is. That's really pretty too. And the shimmers feel really similar to one another. Trust Fund in the new palette is really pretty, but it looks completely different than the old one, not just formula-wise, but the undertones. Like my middle finger is the old Trust Fund, and this one, my pointer finger, is the new Trust Fund. Definitely the old shade. It's more coppery, and this one has more of a golden tone to it. They look very similar, like you can't deny that. But there's just like a hint of difference in the undertone. Like I feel like if you're buying this palette to repurchase it because you think it's going to be the same, it's not. Like obviously it's remastered, but there's hints of different hues in the shadows. I'm going to clean off this brush and I'm going to highlight the brow bone on the new remastered side. I'm going to use Moon Dust from the new palette, which is also found in the old one. See how that one applies. I'm just putting it under my brow bone. And also I'm just going to put that in the inner corner. If you look at both of my brow bones on my eyes, definitely the new Moon Dust one is more intense. Like you can definitely see that shine. This one you can obviously see a little bit too, but the new Moon Dust shade is definitely more frosty. It has that like vibrant, like packs a punch kind of shimmer, you know? So now that I've done both eyeshadow looks with the two palettes, I'm gonna come back after doing my lashes, finishing up the makeup look, and then we're gonna do final thoughts and what I think about these two new palettes. So I've just taken out my jewelry just because I was getting a little bit annoyed with it. It was kind of hurting. So anyways, let's talk about the looks and like the final result. So you can definitely tell these eyeshadow palettes are the same, but I want to do different looks just to showcase like what the new possibilities with the new remastered palette. I really like how both looks turned out. Obviously the original side, I kept it more like that warm, classic, neutral glam vibe. Yeah, we'll go with that. For the remaster side, I really want to showcase like the pinks that it has. These shimmer shades, I'm really impressed with the new palette. They're really nice and you don't need that much pigment to get the shimmer across the lid. I dipped into Pink Diamond twice versus like Blessed in the original palette for the eyelid. I dipped in there like 4 times, maybe 5, just to get that color pigment. Obviously because the formula has improved with the new palette, which is good. Hey, it's remastered. I'd hope it would be. I feel like if you have the original palette, if you really want to buy the new one, you can. It's at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's kind of what you want. I feel like the only thing you're missing out from the new palette is the new shimmer shades because the shimmers are really beautiful and they don't apply like the original. As well, yeah, the mattes are improved and really nice. Like I definitely like them more than the original. They're not drastically different. And color-wise, the mattes in both these palettes look really the same. There's a couple of them that are kind of a little bit different, but most of the different shades are the shimmers. I even find in the Desert Dust palette, the formula is not as nice as it is in the new Rose Gold edition. And it definitely has some of those like purple tones that the Desert Dust one has as well. Not as intense. To compare these two palettes and give them like a little metaphor, I would say the new remastered versus the original Rose Gold palette. It's kind of like picking a boyfriend. You know, you have your first boyfriend or like your first serious one or whatever, you know, that one guy that you kind of dated and really has an imprinted memory in your brain. Okay. You know, you liked a couple things from him, you figured him out, you kind of know how he is. He has some qualities that you like, but there's things you can improve on. Things that you know you want to tweak, you want to fix, okay? So then sadly things end with this guy, you know, on to the next. You got to move on, get over a broken heart, live your life, and then you can start dating someone else. But when you're dating someone else, you're looking for better qualities in a man, better qualities in a significant other from your past, you know, from your past relationships. You want someone with an education. You want someone who has a really nice, kind heart, someone who's really good with family, you know, stuff that you learned that maybe your first boyfriend didn't have. Like better shimmers in its palette, better mattes, you know, the packaging's better too. You learn through life. I think that's what the company did. They kind of learned from their first palette the things they liked about it, and they improved and they got their perfect man. Okay? Not saying, well, I'll find the perfect man, because God knows I will. But if I was to compare these two and give them a metaphor, you know, this is the first love, you know, you're not gonna forget, but once you continue on and you kind of realize what you want in a person, they get a little bit better and they become improved. So that's kind of what I feel between these palettes. You know, the mattes weren't bad, the shimmers definitely need improvement, but that's what we got in the new remastered Rose Gold palette from Huda Beauty. But anyways, guys, that concludes another palette comparison here on my channel for the new Rose Gold Remastered palette from Huda Beauty versus the original. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And like always, remember, sub it if you love it. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Another palette comparison. Woo! Guys, has the full... Oh, hey, what's up? Hey. I think I'm gonna use... Oh my, look at this nail. Okay. This brow looks better than that one. What are you gonna do? Brows. They don't look like twins. They look like sisters. For sure. In my case. And like Huda Beauty said, like the formula is different. Oh, no. Edition palette. Oh, hello. That's me.